All right, let's talk about UK migration. But we're not going to talk about the usual headlines. We're going to dive into a hidden economic challenge, a kind of domino effect that's, well, it's already in motion.
You know, for years, the whole debate around migration has been all over the news, right? But what if the biggest problem the UK is facing isn't what we think? What if it's not too much migration, but the complete opposite?
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive. But, once you cut through all the noise and actually look at the data, a totally different picture starts to emerge. So the assumption for a long time, even right after Brexit, was pretty simple. A steady stream of working-age people would keep coming to the UK, to fill jobs, pay taxes, and basically prop up the economy. It was this bedrock that, honestly, a lot of people just took for granted.
Well, that assumption is now crashing head-on with reality. Because the numbers, they're not just slowing down. They're about to take a serious nosedive.
Okay, so take a look at this chart. It really tells the story. You've got immigration and emigration going up and down, but the number we really need to watch is net migration. That's the dark blue line right there. See how it hit a big peak recently? Well, now it's dropping, and it is dropping fast. And if you look at the forecast, that's the dashed line, it shows just how dramatic this fall is going to be. We're talking about net migration levels by 2026 that we haven't seen since COVID literally shut down borders. To put that in perspective, that's less than half the rate we saw just a couple years back. That is huge.
So the big question is, why does this matter so much? Well, because this isn't just about demographics. This is the start of a chain reaction that has really serious consequences for the entire UK economy.
It's actually a pretty simple but really powerful chain of events. Think about it. Falling migration means fewer workers, right? Fewer workers means the economy grows slower. A slower economy means a smaller tax base to pay for everything, public services. And where does that all end up? Right here. A major fiscal challenge that makes it a whole lot harder to manage the country's national debt. See how one thing just leads directly to the next? Okay, so you might be thinking, can't the UK just find more workers from somewhere else? Well, that's where this whole problem gets even trickier. So if you look at a country like the United States, they have a pretty big undocumented workforce. We're talking about 4% of their population. The UK's is way smaller, less than 2%. What that means is there's no hidden labor pool, no kind of economic shock absorber to soften the blow from legal migration falling off a cliff. Basically, with the UK, what you see is what you get.
So what's the bottom line here? What does all this add up to? This goes way beyond the usual immigration debate. This is like a flashing red warning light for the country's entire financial health.
And look, this isn't some abstract theoretical problem. The people who really matter here, the capital markets, the big global investors who lend money to the UK government, they are paying close attention. For them, a shrinking workforce isn't a political headline. It's a direct threat to the country's macroeconomic stability. And that has very, very real financial consequences.
And so all of this leaves us with a really critical question, doesn't it? As these huge demographic and migration shifts are happening, completely reshaping the workforce and who pays taxes, what's the plan? How is the UK going to adapt to secure its economic future when this huge fiscal challenge is staring it right in the face?